Rock and roll.
What?
Okay, we got sound in 3 seconds, guys.
Sweet.
This is gonna be fun tonight.
I think so.
Do I have glasses to see with? I do.
Gotta keep my glasses here too.
I got Austin Allard next to me tonight. I love it when you're here, Austin.
Thank you.
Look small.
And I've got a microphone too, don't I? All right. Everybody went through makeup tonight?
Yes.
Audience prep?
A little rouge, a little what is?
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Let's have some fun. We've got a lot of great stuff to talk about.
Just a touch of bluff.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, what is today?
Take some of the glare off my forehead and my head. You know?
I did my best. I took like 5 lights off of you.
Yeah, that's it. You know? I got a fresh haircut today. It's starting to shine a little bit, so you know.
We gotta celebrate.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty. Okay,
I
guys.
took Sunday off. I can't wait. I'm going to go see
Mitchell Bufoden running camera tonight.
It's
Mitch,
my birthday Sunday.
give us a
My father's
countdown.
was yesterday,
Oh,
so that's why I thought I would
Tell
bring
him
these
happy
up here
birthday
too.
for
So,
me. Oh, sorry. What are we, we're doing something.
Count
Look
down.
at that.
3, 2.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week in Model Railroading, show number 167 for August 21st, 2021. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host from the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Magazine, where right now George Bogatuk's video is running on how to build that 440 locomotive, kit bashing those beautiful Bachmann models into this masterpiece. He did both the Texas and the General, and I looked at that video a few minutes ago, and it's been out for 4 days, and it's already got over 9,000 views. So congratulations, George, and thank you for the great work, George Bogatuk. Goalie George, we love you. Sitting at the table tonight, I've got Austin Allard, who's going to talk about the chicken that crossed the road. Actually, he's going to talk about the roads that he built on his layout today. Right next to me, I've got our favorite sugar fire, Joshua Barton.
What's up, everybody?
I haven't said that in a long time, Josh. And also on the very end over here, we've got Steve Mantia, who brought some amazing older brass pieces that we're going to discuss and talk about on the show tonight.
Hello.
I want to start by saying that it was absolutely fantastic weather out tonight while it was still dawn. All the guys were outside looking at the beautiful river out there, and it's getting almost looking like it's September, you know, like it almost is. So Mitchell Bufoden was out there, Joshua Barton, Austin Allard, Greg Powell, and Steve Mantia and his son Zach Mantia were all out there. And of course, James Regier showed up late. But it was just so beautiful. You know, Joshua can't help but to wave twice, and that's exactly what we see right here. I love it when you guys do that. Also, James Regier's out there right now as we're recording this show. Zachary was out there. The reason they're out there at night right now is because there's an amazing full moon rising over the river, and it is quite beautiful right now, reflecting. And Zachary's looking through the telescope, checking out the moon and all the little craters and mountains, while James Regier is out there setting up a diorama to shoot some of his Santa Fe locomotives with all those amazing LED lights that he puts in them. You know, that beep that he's got has got over 25 LED lights in it. So rock and roll. I got B-roll of that. You guys just saw it before he set up the locomotives, and I look forward to seeing that. So Austin, I want you to tell me about the roads you built on your layout today.
Yeah, so I looked at the What's Neat index on the internet and saw the video of you building the roads right over there in the corner, and followed the same steps and used the India ink and DAP patch concrete, and it turned out pretty well.
I wish Daniel was here to tell us what video was that in. Do you remember what month?
I can't tell you, but the What's Neat Index.
The
can.
What's
right.
Neat
What's
Index.
There's the way to go.
Type in WN Index on your Google search, and it'll bring you up to an index that's been created to show what's in every single What's Neat show that's run at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And I think we've been doing it since 2012. And without doing the math, it's got to be like, 150 shows. So there's a lot of great content. That show's different from this show in that if you haven't ever seen it, that's the show where we get our hands dirty. That's where we're always building stuff, making projects in all scales, HO scale, ON30, HON3. We got some great material. Every scale, every type of scenery imaginable that we have built in the past. I have never put in there how to make water. That's on my website at kenpatterson.com. That one I'm keeping a secret because that's a great technique. So rock and roll, let's talk. You got any more to say about the roads?
Yeah, so huge shout out to Mark Sebesta. I don't know if I'm getting his name right or not, but he's with Highways and Byways, who makes the HO and N scale decals for parking lots.
Is that right?
Grade
Those look good.
crossings,
Those look great.
and the striping.
Yes.
I know you use paint. I tried taping it off, did not work. But Campbell Rice turned me on to the Highways and Byways, and
Nice.
I definitely recommend them.
And you got those on eBay? Or
Yeah,
where?
so they're sold. He has an eBay page. They're also sold at Midwest Model Railroad
Oh, there you
in
go.
Kansas City, Independence. And then they're also, I believe I saw them on, there's a guy out east that sells DCC decoders. I forget the name of the site, though.
Are those decals, or are they dry transfers, or are they
They're
water
basically
water
just-
salvable decals?
They're stickers.
They're stickers.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I use the Mod Podge to get them to adhesives to,
Okay.
to the road.
And it helps them blend in so you don't
Yeah.
actually see the edge.
Yeah.
That's a great
Very
idea.
cool, yeah.
That's a great idea. And you know what? I've got to ask them. Tell me, what's it like to drive on your roads?
It's actually pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's nice when you get the nicer vehicles that, like the River Point Station ones, that
Yeah.
actually have the rubber tires,
Yes.
and it reminds me that my truck needs an alignment right now because you can see the little tires wobbling, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
That's awesome. I will say when I drove my roads, it's fun.
It
just, And when Joshua brings over his RC car, Beetle, VW bus, is
It's
that
a
what
bus,
you got?
Yeah.
RC. That's why we build roads today on the layouts like we do, because we're waiting for those RC cars, not just the kits, but the ones that are ready to buy off the shelf. I'm so looking forward to that. That's
Yeah.
why I've got long run roads of 12 or 14 feet.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to have a run-by scene where you see the little car pull up to the grade crossing.
Yeah, my
that would be
entire
very
layout
nice.
will have roads
That'll be
to
really
drive
cool.
on.
All right, now I'm going to talk about. I've got to talk about this now. This is a great run by. You guys have seen this on What's Neat shows as run as a segue, and these are some Athearn locomotives that we ran outside. Beautiful day in the fall. I think it was 2016. And we had this RC vehicle on the layout, and once the vehicle started to move, it just caught your attention because you're not used to seeing a parked truck
Yeah.
move. And it pulls out, and the train goes by, perfect run by. And if I can talk long enough during this clip, somewhere at the end of this clip, and I might just clip to it, is this perfect bird that flies, a turkey vulture, and it blent in perfect scale with the buildings. That was one of the most amazing run-bys we've ever done. It was total luck, and by the way, the one locomotive was powered and the other one was sliding its wheels. It was a total dummy, but nobody knew that. It was a pre-production, just a beautiful Union Pacific locomotive from Athearn. So, wow, thank you for that memory.
Things you remember.
Holy cow, that
great.
makes this show fun to do. I can't stop smiling. Steve Mantia, you brought some amazing brass over here tonight. A lot of old pieces from
Yes,
the
very-
70s
very
and
old in that.
60s.
Yeah, same thing. Well, yesterday was my father's birthday, and
Happy
as we
birthday.
always talk
Yeah.
about things with trains, how you get into it and that. So I thought Ten Shoto has always been one of his favorite things that he's collected and that kind of stuff, and the ability that we're buying train collections here and there has given us the joy of having more of the Ten Shoto stuff.
So you're going
that's
to,
going
these are
that
actually
way.
for sale, aren't they?
Well,
They're not
so
just models.
Some of it is the Ten Shoto is usually more personal, but
that
a lot
what
of
Dad
the
keeps?
that's what Dad keeps.
if the
and
price is right.
Well, the price is right as always. But some of the old scale, I thought I would bring out here to show how very nice, very beautiful that they are, and just the little different things that we pick up in our train collections.
Let's go through them one by one. The GP20 right here, the first one that we're looking at is the Burlington. That's the one in the front. And I'm probably going to shoot B-roll of these, but go ahead and zoom in them if you want to, Mitchell, because it makes for great editing. That's a GP20 from Tenshoto, and I remember seeing that in the old Tenshoto catalog, which I have a copy of and I was looking for a moment ago. I mean, you've got to figure these things were they were less than $50 a piece, brand new.
Yes.
The second one is a Conrail GP38, and this is way before they had see-through grills. All of these fans and everything are simple castings. There's nothing see-through on these, but that's the beauty for the older pieces, for the collectors right now. You don't want these modified. And the last one is a GP20, and that's a Union Pacific. And it's got the low hood on it. It just looks great with that sloped hood. What a neat model. Another one we've got on the table in HO scale, and this is a Hallmark model, SD24. In the old days, these are what we would call coffee grinders, because, man, when these ran down the Midwest Valley Modelers layout, the gears were just, they were they were coffee grinders. And this is a low hood with all the torpedo tube air tanks on the top of the locomotive. So for this time period, and I'm going to guess that one is probably from the 70s, that's a pretty neat piece. You can see how the details already started to evolve on it. And in fact, it does not have see-through screens. Those are castings. But it's, another antique type of a piece of brass. Very, very collectible. And you also said you brought some O-scale stuff.
Yes, I brought the O-scale, the Oriental Limited caboose there, and the precision scale Pennsylvania car in that.
That
just to bring
is
different
a
things.
Pennsylvania R50B Express reefer, and this is called the early version. And this is made by Precision Scale Company. If you know anything about Precision Scale, that is quality stuff. And it doesn't matter what year they were made, this stuff is really good. And obviously this one's custom painted with the ice hatches on top to fill it with ice. And what a beautiful, it's just so traditional of the Pennsylvania Railroad to have that round roof that you see on that. All the Pennsylvania boxcars, so many were like that. What do you want to bet that was so they could fit through tunnels?
Probably.
I would think so,
I'm
yes.
just guessing. You've also got a Precision Scale Norfolk and Western 70-ton hopper. Where's that at?
I don't think we've got that one out of the box.
Doug, could you go find that? And we'll talk about that a little bit
Yes.
later, because that's a nice piece, too. Precision, I want to see it, because Precision Scale, again, makes really detailed stuff. The caboose, of course, is a pre-painted Oriental Limited, just as Steve had described it. This is also a very early piece where the roof walk is simply solid brass. These are the kind of models that are very easy to repair if you drop them on the floor, as you saw me do to
Yes.
one of your models once.
When I had a low.
Where was that? That was a GP30 that hit the floor nose first.
And
And you brought it here for me to fix, because I've got a resistance soldering rig, and I did that video for What's Neat on how to solder. So obviously, maybe I knew what I was doing.
Yes.
But the most shocking and fun part of that whole project was when I pulled out a blowtorch. And in order to disassemble the model, simply what you do is you heat the model up and watch all the parts fall to the floor. Because we had to bend all those parts straight again and then re-solder them in place. I wish I had video of that. But just picture
Or your face.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just going to say. Either the pieces falling or my face falling, because I'm watching this and I had never really seen this before. This is how you worked on it. I thought, oh no, okay. This is
You're
what we're
thinking,
doing.
what is this crackpot doing to my stuff?
You know what? We've already got it.
Oh, it's
sit
right here.
Oh, look at that.
There we go.
That's funny. But yeah, we literally, and it didn't just have pieces hitting the floor, but as the solder hit the floor, the balls scattered. You know,
And Dad was here with me also. Was
and you
watching
guys
the
have
same
never
thing, and it would
seen a
never-
locomotive disassembled like
No,
that.
it's never
Most
been
people
that.
would probably take the locomotive piece by piece apart, but cut to the chase, the whole front was damaged. You take a torch to it and boom.
Yes.
Now we can fix it.
No, that was it.
And as I recall, we had that thing fixed in less than an hour.
I know. We sat here and watched it, and we were.
And you were
amazed
a
with it.
believer.
Yes, I was truly a believer. Look at this. It's alive. It's.
I will tell you, back when I had the Midwest Valley Modelers
Here we
layout, I
are.
collected
There
a
we
lot
go.
of
The
them.
Oh, that is
undecorated,
nice.
and
That is
shiny.
beautiful.
All the
This-
things that way.
Wow.
That is just everything about brass.
That's a Norfolk and
Stands up.
Western 70-ton triple bay hopper by Precision Scale Company, and the wood grain that's etched in the sides of that.
Yeah, I
that's
mean, the
absolute-
detail
yeah,
work.
That's a beautiful piece.
You can see why brass was always the
Yeah.
very
The gold.
the very
Well, I mean,
gold
we-
standard to have. Yes.
You know,
Brass was the gold. Yeah, standard.
the hobby stores here nowadays, they don't sell any brass at all.
No.
I mean, you know, you can't find anything, not even on consignment.
Remember
So-
Caboose and the original Caboose out in Colorado? That was the place where Dave Davis, we would all just go through the lists and we would see the pictures of the store with the big, tall brass cases from floor to ceiling just lined up with brass. That was where Dave Davis and I and Michelle, my wife, and his wife at the time, we caught a plane to Colorado to go to the Caboose. It was a go-to destination.
Wow.
It was one of those bucket list things. You had to go to Caboose. We only went for the brass, but when we got there, it was just like wall-to-wall trains. So that was the old Caboose, and it was amazing. What an amazing experience. I know, right? I'm smiling. It must have been good. I didn't actually buy anything, as I recall, but I did collect a lot of brass in the 80s for that Midwest Valley Modelers layout. We started that layout in 1988. And we ran that layout. We did about 35 train shows with that over a period of until 97 or thereabouts. I actually don't remember how long that ran now. We did have it in the basement. It fit down here. But the reason for brass was on a modular layout like that, it was very, very durable. And if you custom painted them, they looked fantastic running.
Right,
yes.
right.
Overland Models made some wonderful pieces that Athearn makes today, and the plastic ones are quite honestly better than the brass ones with regards to the detail. I will never forget Bob Schleicher over at Rail Model Journal on the phone with me. I was in my real estate office. We're chatting back and forth. He's like, man, you got to make scale handrails, Ken. You've got to make scale handrails because none of the brass stuff has really got scale handrails. It was the wires were still too thick.
Right.
And then, what was it, in 1997 or thereabouts, when did the first Lifelikes come out with scale handrails? That was probably the early
Somewhere
90s.
right around there, yeah.
The early 90s when Lifelike finally had, and that was the first manufacturer that had absolutely scale
I
handrails.
was going to say I was just being born then. So.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Wow.
Yeah, jeez.
We have got so much cool stuff to talk about. We've talked about the brass. Let's talk about Intermountain for a minute. Intermountain has done something really wonderful. The Intermountain Railway Company is honored to support the hometown Longmont, Colorado. And that is a museum out there that's celebrating, Longmont itself is celebrating 150 years. And so the museum out there in Longmont has created an exhibit that exhibits the 150 years and the type of things that you would expect to see through that period of time. And this exhibit looks back to the forces that literally shaped the town. And one of the themes that's totally undoubtable that you can't deny is the forces of the railroads that ran and impacted that town. So Intermountain created a display working with them at this museum, showing the railroad running right through the middle of town. There's a road scene, plexiglass is covering up the locomotives. It's a really cool little diorama that they built. And in fact, this main line runs about 200 yards from where Intermountain's place of businesses out there. So Intermountain Railway donated the locomotives, the rolling stock, to help the museum describe the type of products that were actually carried through the town every day, as well as to help create the major rail crossing that I just described. Now this exhibit will open on August 7th, which means it's already open.
Yeah, that's right.
And it will run through January of next year if you all want to go out there and see that. Attending the VIP opening, I've got a photograph here of all our favorite people out there, the team members. There's Ron Angstead. I love Ron. I've known him for 30 years already. Ron Angstead. And then Frank Angstead, God bless him. He's hit golf balls off my cliff before. And Donna, his wonderful wife, Donna Angstead. I love you two. You guys are one of those cute couples I keep talking about on these shows. Lee Ryan was also out there. Hey, Lee. And Glenn Bramer. Glenn, it's wonderful to be able to work with you hand on hand as we decide what models to present on the show. So rock and roll, you guys. What a wonderful exhibit. Thank you very much, Intermountain, for helping us promote the best hobby in the world.
I saw that on their Facebook page this week.
We are, how far are we in? I'm looking at the stopwatch. What else do we got to talk about, Joshua? You know what? You haven't been on the show and really talked about your layout, but I know you're building a beautiful layout. Tell us, what progress have you made on it in the last 3 months?
Not a lot. I've kind of taken a little sabbatical because work has been working me a lot. I do have a picture of that I'll throw up right now of the actual bar and the back of the bar that I did the end of June. It's got some greenery on it and a couple buildings there that are all lit up and
This is
everything.
nice.
Nice.
And then I have another video here, and this is the top looking down at the bar top. I took a bunch of different things and epoxied them into a bar top. And I just did my second pour here last week. and so it's curing now. So I'll break that all.
How thick is this? This is pretty thick, isn't it?
It's going to be 3.5 inches
Thick, clear, so you can see all the memorabilia that you've put
So
in
I have
place.
these giant cherry log rounds that are in there, and a couple of, I guess they're oak rounds as well. A lot of Mopac memorabilia, and a business card from the show here, a business card for my work, different things that are near and dear to my heart. I got a couple railroad spikes from DeSoto, the actual railroad.
Nice.
That's
And
cool.
then I even stuck a little engine in there, so you can see that in the run through.
Awesome.
But that's going to be pulled off, and I'll light it from underneath, so the light will come up, and it should be really cool. Hopefully in the next few weeks, summer's ending, so I'll start back up and go gun-ho again all winter.
Here we come again. I cannot believe it.
Yep, you
gonna be
can follow me at Facebook at Fountain City Railroad.
Very nice.
Yep.
Steve Hurt made us this What's Neat truck that we have on the table. In case you haven't seen the RPM show that we did, which was 2 shows ago, what number was that? I don't recall.
65.
But 65. That was a fantastic show.
165.
165.
They all blur together,
65 might have been a couple years ago.
Yeah, it might have been.
I mean, Bob Rivard, Chris Palomera, Stephen Priest was sitting here.
Yeah.
Dr. Robert Steers was right next to me. George Booktalk was sitting right here. And it was a great show. My father was on that show, and his wife was on that show. And just
George's wife was on that show.
so
too.
many amazing people. I mean, just it was a room full of energy down here, and it's so much fun to produce a show when we've got that amount of excitement in the room. I know, I'm just reliving it myself. Pardon me.
It
Very
seemed
nice,
like
yeah.
being at that show was a lot different than a few years ago, and I don't know if it was that lull of 2020 that no one could do anything, but it seemed just so much more family oriented as far as all of our friends coming together and hanging out. And
I was gonna say I've been for the last 5 years, and it was
it's
definitely a pretty decent show. this year.
record turnout this year.
Record turnout, the most amount of tables. I know they're looking to expand it next
I
year.
saw more hats that had
So,
What's Neat this
yeah.
week on it than I could count.
I do believe the break made a big
I
difference.
think so.
When we had our train show, when there's been other train shows so far with the break, everybody has been excited with everything.
I think a lot of people have the mindset, oh, I didn't realize how much I enjoyed
You
that,
didn't
and
until
now
you
that I
lost it,
don't
yes.
have it, and now that it's back.
Now that we can
yes.
get back to, as we say over and over
correct.
again, back to the real world again.
I want to give a shout out to Denny Yelsma for
Very
giving us
nice.
all of the hats to pass out and all of the brochures. Denny spent right at $1,000 to help us brand that show with the What's Neat
Wow.
logos and
Very
also
nice.
with
Thank you,
Yelsma.com,
Denny.
which is where all the wonderful jackets, this great shirt I've got on came from. So thank you very much, Denny Yelsma,
Yes,
for what you
thank
do.
you
He
very
sent me
much.
6 more different kinds of shirts, some with pockets, some without. They've got my name on them, different colors, so that when I go to a train show, I don't have to wear the shirt every day. That means I will smell fresh and clean.
Very nice.
Thank God for that.
And a pocket on the shirt is very nice too. Sometimes you can help
Glasses?
carry the glasses in it.
Glasses go on his head.
Well, yeah, on his head, but I like to just have mine in my pocket. So.
Can we have Reverend Chuck bring us some more pastries too?
Oh, wasn't that wonderful? That was fun. Fun show with Lionel
It was,
Strang.
yeah.
The pastries. That was my birthday show, in fact. Michelle was on that show. There was a lot of fun and a lot of energy on that show. They brought me a birthday cake.
And-
was that the show where my cake was? The same one with the pastries? Denny Yelsma was sitting here, too.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
forgot to bring out the cake, so it had a bunch of wax on it.
Yeah, I remember
Candles
that.
always burn.
That was somebody we don't know.
Who did that? Who brought the cake in?
Well, in my defense, he started talking about his birthday, and then no one ever said
Oh,
anything.
I see.
That's right.
Well, when you
That's
start
right.
talking
10
about
minutes later.
when you start talking about birthdays, it just goes on and on. That's it. You know.
We're getting off topic. Let's talk about trains.
All right, train.
Getting back down to business, let's talk about a little bit of layout construction right now. We're going to do a skit on what types. This is a What's Neat video that I did sometime in October. I filmed it, so that means it probably ran in November or December, What's Neat 2016. And that was a video where I wanted to try various types of Let me start by describing it like this. I built bench work and I was going to build a scene. And the scene turned out to be open grid bench work, 1x4s like we always do. I laid track and the background foam scenery for my background on this, standard the way I build things. But up front, I built 1x4 uprights to support the scenery, which was made from different materials. I used paper towels as a basis for the scenery. I also use black duct tape for the basis of the scenery. This will make sense in a minute. I also used masking tape as the basis for the series. I also used cloth just regular old, those dusting rags, polyfiber cloths, and I used window screen. So 5 types of medium to make the base for this scenery that was going to go on top of it. And what did I put on top of it? The old Foam Pro, the Great Stuff Foam Pro that you guys always see me using.
I love
You
using
saw us we made a turtle shell mountain on it 2 shows ago when you were on.
Yes.
But this is what I used for the bases of the top covering. I sprayed it onto all of the substrates underneath that I just described, and I set up a clock right next to the diorama, and I ran high-speed video. So as this clock's spinning around for 1 hour, the foam is rising, the foam is starting to set up. And then what I did was, once it was set after that hour period of time, I carved it down with a razor printing saw, which is standard material, and I also used my Stanley Sureform planer to smooth it out. And of course, at that point, you would paint it brown, drop on your ground foam or fake fur, and have a finished scene ready to go. But the question was, which one really held the best? And I've got to tell you, they all did. I don't know if I have this part on film, but somewhere in there we put a dumbbell on each one of those lifting weights to see if it would hold. And all the mediums worked, because I think what it was it didn't matter really what you put underneath it. The Foam Pro had enough structure that it would support the weight. Just guessing in my head that the window screen might have been the strongest because the Foam Pro penetrated the screen and was all the way around it. So that was a video that ran at What's Neat. I had to talk about that because it's always interesting when we can do a how-to and run stuff like that. So what else have we got, and how much far are we into this one?
I was going to say we were going to talk about the big boy.
Yes, you are. I wrote down the dates on that. Do you want me to read them off? And then I want to know if you're going to chase it or not.
Sure.
The big boy is coming to St. Louis, and that is Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And that is August 28th, 29th, and 30th. So that's just a few days away, guys.
Next weekend.
On Saturday, it's going to be coming from Chester, from the Chester sub, up here through Illinois. So I'm probably going to stand here at the house and film it. Yeah, I know you guys are going to be over there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to chase her from southern Missouri all the way up to St. Louis.
And then it's going to be on display downtown St. Louis on the 29th. I guess that'll be over at the
Union Station, or the Amtrak station, I think.
Is that right? Okay, so you anticipate a lot of people. That's where I want to go, because I love socializing with the various rail fans you meet while the engine is parked. That'll be kind of fun. And then on Monday the 30th, it's going to go south. Southwest on the, that's the
Just west.
It's going west on the Jeff City sub.
The Jeff City sub, right, going to Jefferson City, making a stop in Kirkwood. You can bet there's going to be a lot of people in Kirkwood.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that bridge that runs right over the top of the tracks, right at the Kirkwood station, I'll bet they're selling tickets for that one.
We're going to find out the
That'd
weight
be-
capacity of that bridge that
Yes.
day.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
structural integrity.
Isn't that true?
It's also making a
It's
stop
gonna-
in Pacific, Washington, and Herman as well.
And it'll go right by the Transportation Museum.
sure
so
Oh, nice.
if you're there when it goes
it
by,
will.
that'll be the closest you'll ever be to 2 big boys.
This is going to be the most exciting thing in St. Louis in a long
Big Blue
time, rail
Square.
fanning wise.
Yeah.
It really was. Next week, I'm going to talk about more boats on. You know what? Let me just talk about it now. I was out filming. I actually wasn't filming. I was doing backyard work in the backyard. We've talked about this once before, but this is the biggest load of wind turbines I've ever seen getting hauled up the river this time. I mean, there are massive amounts of them stacked up and stacked across the rakes and the box barges that were out there. And just looking at this and knowing the length of a barge is 200 feet, these are about 250 feet long. So imagine that. That's a 500-foot span for the total wind generator turbine blade. That's got to be absolutely amazing to witness. That would, if we put it on the floor, it wouldn't fit down here, would it? The St.
don't
Louis,
think it
the
would.
St. Louis
No.
Arch
No.
is
630.
Yeah.
yeah, and that would be what, 11
Seven
feet?
and a half.
7.5. So yeah, we can't model that, but if you do, you don't
Were they
have
going
to,
north on the river
You won't
or
have any
south?
ventilation problems. I'm
They're
sorry, what?
going north on the river or south?
This one was going north.
Okay, because I know they're putting big turbines down in the Gulf of Mexico now too.
Really?
So I know those blades are going to be close to 300 feet.
That's awesome. What else do we have on the list tonight? I think we're coming to the end on that list, aren't we? The September What's Neat, I said, is just gotten finished. In fact, that one will be coming out in just 15 more days by the time the show gets out. It usually comes out the 15th of the month, so maybe a little bit longer than that. In the September 2021 What's Neat, we look at Gary Gross's wonderful triple-deck layout. It's called the Franklin and Pacific Layout, and that is a mix of Frisco and Missouri Pacific stuff. I do a segment on that show about how to make grass tufts, which is very interesting. You've seen the sill floor grass tufts. I love them. I use them on my layout, but I thought maybe I'd try different lengths of nap and 4 different kinds of glue to see which one works worked the best. This was all attached to wax paper, and sure enough, some of them came out pretty good, where you could strategically plant the grass on your layout in various areas, and I'm positive I'm showing you B-roll of that. That'll come out in September. And the last thing in that video is Dan Scheidel. You guys saw the footage tonight. What do you think about that?
Pretty cool. Lots of bridge scenes. I told Ken we should model some of them in the basement.
And you were talking about the
see about
locomotives.
that.
We'll rip that one out, this one out, that one out. Yes, let's do this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of water shots, a lot of bridge scenes, and the point of this video is to illustrate how you model it on your layout. A drone, it's about the height of where you stand high to a layout, that's say 40 to 50 inches high. That's the point of drone footage. If it looks just like that in drone, then that's how your layout should look. So all the answers to modeling are right there without reading a how-to article. You've just got to visualize it. You like the condos that were in that one shot,
Yeah,
too.
the train's coming across the bridge, and all of a sudden there's like this cul-de-sac with condos right there, and you got the river behind your house, and then on the side of your house you got a train track.
Oh, wow.
That's very cool.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that's
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah.
From our standpoint.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
The people in the
Let's
condo
all
maybe.
face it though.
Yeah.
The railroad came before the condos.
Yes,
So.
of course.
Steve, go ahead and pitch your company that you buy brass, and you buy not just brass, but all train collections.
buy all train collections.
Any kind of trains.
Any-
That's how I met you. I followed your red truck. I got video of the red truck.
The
I'm
red
looking
truck,
for the
that's it.
computer.
Hey, follow me. Remember
I
how
followed
we
him
talked
down the
about
road.
that?
Told him
Follow me for trains. That's it. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
it's like the ice cream truck that serves trains.
Yes.
But how do people get a hold of you? Do you just have an internet website, or do you use good old-fashioned landlines, phone lines?
Just give a call on my cell at 314-369-3949. 314-369-3949.
Okay.
And that's the best way. Yes. Whew.
I know, right? We've got the NCE power cab. The power cab's actually over there. This is the main system that we use on my layout. This is a radio throttle right here. This great big hammerhead is what we call it. And so is the smaller throttle. They're both radio throttles. You could also plug them into your layout, onto their nice little, the pads that run all the way around the layout, the plug-in jacks that we've got on this layout. It's a fantastic system in that the one that he sent us that we work with all the time down here, it's got 2 radio units in the ceiling. It's got full expansion all the way around the 157-foot main line. And I think this room measures 30 by 60, so that's good range. It doesn't have any interference. The system works great, so the NCE system, check it out, guys. The power of DCC. I'd also like to thank Lombards. They sponsor the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. What a fantastic hobby shop. I can't wait to go up there. I've been saying that for so long, it's getting old. I need to get up there. Intermountain Railway Company, of course. I used to work for them in the late, early 90s. I used to do their photography for them when Bob Bickley was there. Great people. Yellsma Graphics, we all know about the hats and all the wonderful stuff Denny makes. Walthers also sponsors the What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. We've got American Limited Models that sponsors both the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine and this What's Neat podcast, and Microengineering that also sponsors this podcast. I'd like to thank some of the past companies that have sponsored, and they usually start up again in the wintertime. As you see, we rotate them around, and that is Soundtracks, ZYX Creative, GNL Robotics, Bachman Industries from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Hi, Doug. Hey, guys. I love you guys. I did your photography for years. TCS, Train Control Systems. We all love Dan Michio out there. And the NMRA that brought 8 months of sponsorship to the show where we really promoted and had a lot of special guests, very interesting people. Tony Kester.
Very much so.
Very interesting interviews with the folks during that period of time when they helped sponsor the show. We tried to bring them all on. So what else?
And
What's
it'll
this
be
right
here in St.
Yeah.
Louis next year.
Oh, yeah, rock and
Yeah.
roll.
NMRA.
Give us a time check.
We're at 29 minutes, 30 minutes now.
Awesome. Going around the table, going once, going twice. You want to close it out tonight, Joshua?
Thanks everybody for watching.
Subscribe.
Subscribe to the YouTube.
Yes.
KenPatterson.com. What's Neat This Week? Check us out. Check us
YouTube.
out on Facebook too.
Right.
YouTube, Facebook.
We got Facebook? Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to, what's neatthisweek.com, we have something like that too, don't we?
What's
let's just edit that
neat.com
out,
is
yeah.
actually the index for the podcast.
That's right.
Now, he was talking about the, Austin Allard was talking about the index for the What's Neat shows, the how-to shows where you get your hands dirty. Now, think about that. We've done 167 podcasts. There is a What's Neat index for that. A gentleman by the name of Randy Hook. Fantastic that he has got this, it set up where Every single model that we've ever talked about, subject matter, manufacturers type models, all the pictures you've ever seen me run on the screen are all listed on this website. You can see them. Every guest that we've ever had on the show is on that. And that's a lot.
It's a whole lot.
That's a
isn't it?
lot of
neat.
work.
Yep. But it's worth it.
Yes,
It's all worth it.
It's all,
Yes, it is.
it's all worth it.
So,
It's an amazing, amazing development as this show progresses and grows bigger and bigger. We didn't plan this, but we sure love doing it, and it's all because of support from great modelers just like you that inspire us to do what we do. We're simple model railroaders. I always say that, but we are. And in fact, I don't know what kind of model railroader I am. I have not built models in so
An
long.
advanced modeler.
you are.
Modeler, you guys.
You're a grandmaster modeler.
All right, guys, best hobby in the world. Let's take our NCE power system.
I thought I was going to close it out.
Go ahead.
Let's go run some trains, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
That was great.
Good show. Very good.
I had to get in the advanced
Good
model.
job.
That's it.
Thumbnail?
Thumbnail. Everybody likes to do thumbnail. Let's just let this roll. We'll roll credits while we do the thumbnail right now. The music's playing, right? I know. So we're going to pick up something and smile, right?
Yep.
Ken reaches for the
Grab the thing.
I'll go with the.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute. Oh, wow. Ready?
Perfect.
Yay, guys. He had it. He had it. Dad's